No, you guys can post.
I already did.
In all the social networkings?
Yep.
You go, girl.
Doing it unless I miss something.
All right. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you hear me out there? And let's see what we have going on here with this chat room. Oh wait, I need the chat room. It's back here behind that chat room. So, we'll see what questions are going through the main chat room through here. Alright, I'll see the questions on this machine so I can kind of get rid of them over here. Turn off sounds. Just setting up for the, I'm just setting up for the YouTube. For the YouTube Live in just a couple of moments, kids. I'm waiting for a few more to log in. And we'll see what these markets have in store for us. Okay, so again, sitting here waiting for a few more of you to show up. Class will begin shortly. Please be patient. I told people show up for 1 o'clock. It's just about there now. 1 o'clock Eastern. So I'm assuming they'll start piling in. And then we will begin, kids. I'm excited. I'm not excited. Well, I'm not excited that the double top didn't hold today, but I'm excited that the markets are whipping around. But we'll get to that double top very shortly. It's part of today's feature. Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. Continue to log in. We'll be starting our class very shortly. And where are we at? 29:37. My goodness. You know, just for the fun of it, while we're waiting for me to start this class, you see this red line right here? Know what that represents? The daily double top in the S&P, which we didn't get to yet. We'll talk about that in a minute. Just keep an eye on that because it's just about ready to kiss that double top. There's something to think about while I'm starting the class. Yeah, of course you could ask a question.
Does it matter how far back you went for the double top?
Well, the further, the worse it is. The further, the bigger of a drop you should get from it.
Oh, that's the
Sure. It took a long time to get back there.
It sure did. So that's like 2018, somewhere in 2018.
Date on this is 10/3/18. Oh, it's been a while. What's the plan? Well, the plan is to analyze and then win. What's your plan? That's always mine. Does it always work out? No, but we try really hard. Yes, you are correct. If you're looking at a triple top on the monthly Dow, you would be absolutely correct. It would look like a triple top for sure. I agree with you there. All right, I will wait one more minute, kids, and then we'll get started. And whoever shows up late, they'll just have to catch up. Hello, hello. Hi, Anna. All right. So we're missing about half the class, but we'll start anyway because I promised we would start this thing close enough to 1. So let's get moving. So let's get rid of this little notepad and we'll get moving. Okay, traders, officially I will start our what we call our YouTube live technical analysis classes. This one basically will be about double tops, especially on weekly charts. Do they work? Should you follow them? Should you trade a double top when you see one? As you know, if you've been following me long enough, the answer unequivocally is yes. We will get to that. So, let's take a look around. Before we get started, traders, please know this. Stock trading, futures trading, ETF trading, options trading, any type of trading these days is very, very risky. You can absolutely lose more than you had planned. Today's a day where we were selling a double top in the Nasdaq. If a double top didn't work, we would get stopped out. We actually used the Russell for the vehicle instead of the Nasdaq, and we did get stopped out today. Double top did not work, which of course we'll go look at. So please know it's a very risky game. Even a very highly accountable technique like selling a double top will sometimes cost you. So know the risks, but also know that double tops do work well, and let's go see what's going on with that. So this video, or this class as I should call it, is live now on Tuesday midday. It is about 1:04 p.m. on Tuesday, April 23rd, and we are now going to look at what the charts are showing us on the dailies and the weeklies, what it represents, and what should come next. So we are looking at the E-mini S&P daily bar. It's been in this wonderful Oscarism known as an F flag for weeks now, just staying in the F flag, and it's actually starting to break out of that F flag as of today. You can see we are above the green top of what I call an F flag. Now, of course, we've had the golden cross in the E-mini S&P, and it went right into that F flag almost immediately after the golden cross. What's happening next is that now we are running into the same instance I showed you in last night's video, double top area. Here we have a double top possibly building in the E-mini S&P. Top one would be this red circle. The date of that red circle came in on October 3rd, 2018. And here we are just about to hit that same top again. And today is 2019, of course, but we're in April 23rd. So huge distance between this top, the big drop, and this top. Now that's on your daily. Daily double tops work sometimes. They don't work sometimes. You got to be a little careful on the daily. But when you go out to weekly double tops, you can very much rely upon them. So I am going to move this camera, make it a little bit smaller because you don't need to see me. What you need to see is the chart. So let's take a look around the horn at first the daily charts, and we'll expand out to the weekly charts. So that's your E-mini S&P. We go to the Nasdaq daily, and you'll find, of course, you had your double top, which is right here, monstrous double top. Today, it did not hold that double top. It went right through it. I'll blow this up so you can see it a little better. But I wanted you to see where the double top started from, which is here. The previous highs, the highest high Nasdaq's ever been in its past. So that's where the line starts. Now we're going to blow this chart up a little bit. And what's happened is we stayed inside of an F flag. Golden cross took place, went into an F flag like the S&P. And here was the double top play. So at the double top, if you remove today's bar and you look at what you have right now, you've got what should be considered a double top, and you're at the top of the F flag. Let me blow that up so you can see it. That, my friends, is absolute resistance to any analyst. That is resistance. Let me change the color so you can see the difference here. So as you can see at the top of this F flag and the top of what should be a double top come in at the same spot. So selling that today or considering that a possible short is a smart thing to do if you are an analyst that follows double tops, because they almost always work. So let's bring this back into focus now. So here should have been a double top in Nasdaq, and when we see a double top, we do not hesitate, we do not question it, we do not wonder whether it will work or not. We assume 100% of the time the double top will work. Now, it's not going to work 100% of the time, and we know that, but it's a great mentality. 100% of the time you see a double top, you sell it, the odds of the double top start working for you dramatically in your favor. If you pick and choose through your double tops, you look at this one and go, well, I don't like the way it looks. I don't think it's going to work. As soon as you say, I don't think, you've already made a technical mistake. An analyst doesn't think. He reacts to what he sees. So the call to sell this double top is a smart analyst's call, but they do not always work, as we know, as we mentioned in last night's video. So now I'm going to refresh, put today's bar in, and look, a total blowout right through the top of the F flag and through what should have been a double top on your daily. But we're not done. Let's go to the Russell. You are supposed to wait. Question from Anil. Are you supposed to wait for the end of the day to call a double top a double top? Absolutely, positively. You cannot tell if it's a double top till the day closes. Could turn around today and smack down and give us that double top. But at this point, that is not what it's doing. So we're doing a live class based on what's happening at this moment in time. At this moment in time, from what I can see, what should have and could have been the beginnings of an Oscarism known as a bearish F flag, which was pointed out in last night's video. Let's get rid of this trend for a moment so it's not confusing to you. What looked to be the beginnings of this F flag right here, and we'll make that blue so everything's consistent for you. And if you'll note, started to build below the 200 ball moving average, this little flag. And failure at the 200 ball moving average has been frequent. So we have a bear flag as of last night in your Russell below the 200 ball moving average. But what happens instead? Straight through, negates the flag, goes back above the 200 ball moving average, and is now bullish once again, right? What else can you say except for that has turned bullish as of today? So we're looking at day charts here for day trading. So let's go look at the transportation average. Another interesting chart. Now, the transportation average is eons away from what you'd call a double top. That would take you to the double top, this red line up here. So you are nowhere near the double top or anything that looks like one in the transportation average. And it's also in a very strong channel at the moment. So barring that Nasdaq double top, there's really no reason to be bearish in this market. And the Nasdaq double top is not working today. We have more to look at though. We're not done when it comes to double tops. For now, Nasdaq double top certainly isn't working. You are in a very smart looking channel in your transportation average, and you'd have to travel miles before you reached a double top. Now, if you want to take this transportation average chart back a little bit, there is something that you might construe as a double top, and that would be this high here. And if you want to take this across and call this a double top, well, let's go take a look at it. That would be right where we are now, kids. If you wanted to consider, and let's make the whole chart smaller now so you can see everything. If you wanted to consider this line, let's turn it red, consistency. If you want to consider this line a double top, you can, and we're there now. And the Nasdaq's at its double top. But the true double top for the transportation average comes in at the previous contract highs, and that is all the way up at this red line. So you've got a lot of room on the upside in your transportation average to get to this red line, which would be considered the double top. You do have this line here, the solid red line, representing that last little spike up. I don't know I'd consider that a double top, though. If the market wants to, that's fine. We'll follow it. So, and then you've got the Dow Jones Industrial Average itself. Now look at this one. Don't worry, this is going to get more interesting. We're just looking at the dailies now. They're boring compared to the weeklies. So, looking at the Dow Jones Industrial Average, this red line would represent double top. We're not there yet, as you can see. However, after the Golden Cross, we sure did go into a very smart channel. And we've been in that channel ever since. Since the Golden Cross, right here, we went into a very smart channel, never filled that gap too, very rare, and is continuing on. So the Nasdaq did not stop for the double top, right? Remember that. Here it is again. The Nasdaq said, well, unless they turn me around today and send me back down 100 points, I am not stopping for the double top. Away we go. That tells me neither is anything else. And forget about double tops for now, and we just take the Omni and run with it. So that's what we're looking at on our daily charts, but it's going to get more interesting because the weekly is what's giving us all this double top possibility action. So let's go there. In fact, let's start with the Nasdaq. In the Nasdaq, clearly, until today's action started, this was an unequivocal double top on a weekly chart. And when we see a double top, we sell a double top on a weekly chart. No questions asked. Do not hesitate. It will work for you 80% of the time, if not higher percentage than that. Do not question a double top. Go with it. Today's double top didn't work. It is a rare occasion that I stand in front of this camera and speak to this crowd of Omniacs and say that a double top didn't work. They almost always do. This is going to be one of those rare occasions where it didn't work, so it didn't work. That's the way it is. On to the next trade. That's in your Nasdaq. But take a look at the rest of these weekly charts. On the weekly E-mini S&P, we weren't quite at the top as of last night when I showed you this chart. We did not get to the double top. This bar was much smaller. If we edit the bar and we take out today's highs, 13-ish was about as high as it was. And let's see, that's good, and let's make this a little bit lower. If you look at the way that bar looked, that was the bar as of last night, but of course, as soon as the market ticks, it goes right back up. And now we are actually at the double top, so we are there now. And I guess if we're going to have caps, we'll stay with caps. We are there now. Boom. Right there at the double top in the weekly. Now let's go to the transportation average. This is why we don't hesitate with double tops and why so many of them work. Like the Nasdaq is doing today, look at this one. It just tricked us for one session or for a couple of days inside of a week. This is a weekly chart. And are we looking at? Yes, we're looking at a weekly chart. So let's change that up because daily wouldn't make sense there. So looking at this weekly chart, let's pretend this doesn't exist, this doesn't exist. Could this be a double top? Look what happened. Massive drop, right? So can it go through for just a little bit? Yes. That's why you don't know what's going to happen today with that Nasdaq, because once again, the Nasdaq looks just like that. So here we are again at what should be a double top. But it certainly did work here. Can anyone argue that this double top didn't work? Well, it started here, it went to here, and then the drop came. Can anybody argue that that drop didn't come? The only thing is you had that little sneaky run through before the drop came. So we are looking at these double tops. They almost always work. They are quite dangerous to not spot them and not respect them. But at this point, Nasdaq's not working. Let's go look at it again because that's the one in question here. The Nasdaq now basically looks just like that double top I showed you a moment ago in the Dow Jones. The one to the left where it went through, and then by the end of that bar, you turned around and did this. So we are in a spot where you've got to be very careful. Will we stop at this double top? The interesting thing about that is the fundamental that comes in. We've got earnings week this week, and we are basically expecting just about everything to beat their estimates. So with earnings week and the double top, hey, we'll get what we'll get, but you need to know that these double tops almost always produce for you. So even if today you were stopped out by selling the double top, you must sell that double top next time you see it. They work way more often than they do not. And the transportation average on the weekly. Now let's go look at this one. On the transportation average, if you look at the last double top, it went through just a little and double topped out. Right? As you can clearly see, it double topped out, but it went through a little and it faked everyone out. Probably ran the stops and then dumped. That can be a hazard of double tops. You get that stop run and then the day turns around and it goes the other way. But if you'll note, that one worked really well. And if you want to use that same one we used on the daily, do you want to call this a double top? So they are all over the charts. Until we get past them, it's difficult to just run in there and buy because that one worked really well. What should stop this one from working really well? So it shouldn't not work very well. It should actually work. Double tops are very highly countable. So that's why I did last night's video to basically say, yeah, it might look bullish, but we've got to respect these double tops because in most cases, you can make a small fortune once a double top starts proving that it has topped out. So that's the difference between, last night's call for selling the double top and today's action. Now the day is not over. And easily you can end up turning around and putting in that double top. But I don't know, with these strong earnings coming out, I say we just continue on. We'll take it one day at a time. At this point, I would start buying dips. But you do have this one right here. Don't forget, this is going to be the questionable chart for tonight. This one right here. The Dow and the S&P. In fact, let's go back to the weekly. Let's stay with the weeklies for just another moment. This one is now going to, the Dow is the market everybody in the world looks at, right? Everybody stares at the Dow. The Dow, as far as they're concerned, is the market. You are about to run into that same spot. The one that took us down last time, and now we're heading back to the same area. So there's going to be a lot of give and take here. What you're going to find likely is a great deal of volatility taking place this week now that we're at this spot. Wanted to point that out to you because it's a very interesting place for a technical analyst to have to make decisions. So we're not quite there on the weekly, but we sure are in the Nasdaq. You've seen all the other double tops that are very close. We have to see where this thing settles today. Now, there are other things happening out there. Let's just go take a look. Let's go back to 14. Now, for this poor chart, this poor company, Tesla, we have been talking about for weeks and weeks and weeks and how bad it looks and how ugly it looks. And I keep telling you, every time I pull this chart, I say the same thing. I do not like the way it looks. So, I don't like this chart at all. I say this every time we look at it. And it is still doing the same thing. This is a very busted company. I don't know what happened to Tesla. But you know, I've been showing you this for weeks and weeks, I think months now, that I've been saying I cannot stand this chart. I don't know what happened to the company. Now, I don't care about the fundamentals. I don't care that a car went on fire in China. We didn't know that was going to happen to a Tesla when we started to say that this chart is broken and it looks like there's something wrong with the company. And boy, it hasn't gotten any better because it can't even get itself above the 50-ball moving average. It fails miserably. It reacts very well to flags. It's now in, if you ask me, a serious downtrend. And for you Tesla fans, I love the company. Well, I should say I love the guy who runs the company. I don't like his car company. Whatever's going on here, unless someone buys it, this company's in trouble. So I've been looking at this for quite some time. Now you have on the opposite, what was I looking at last night? Let me see if I could pull up. I found a really interesting stock. Is it ALN? We'll see what comes up. No, that's not going to be it. Let me just think about this for a moment because last night I found a great stock that I think we should start buying. Maybe it was Align Technologies. I looked at so much yesterday. Oh, yeah. Look at this. All right, so let's get rid of this negative stuff on Align Technologies. And let's take another look at it. I was looking at this yesterday, and it is starting to look like a very smart-looking stock again. So, ALGN gets above the 200-ball moving average. Take today off. Very strong Omni as well. It's above the 200. It never broke the 50, which, if you ask me, for this stock is important. Watch. This is the 50-ball moving average right here that I'm circling in red. So if you'll note, 50-ball moving average, we'll turn that black so it's consistent. If you'll note, when this chart gets to, or this stock gets to the 50, it rallies. And it gets back to the 50 and the bottom of the channel, and it rallies. Here it just missed the 50 and the rally started already, showing that it's strengthening. And what's really happening is our channel is now starting to move higher. See that? The channel's now starting to move its way up. Channels morph. Everything morphs. These markets morph every day. So now it's starting to show us that it wants to continue on up. And let's just refresh and get all the bars in there. And if you ask me, I think ALGN is a fantastic buy here. I think it'll take out what this little flag-looking thing is right here and just continue moving on. So looking for at least up here at the top of the orange channel and then to the top of the blue channel. And then, of course, wherever it's going to go, it will go. I do like ALGN above the 200-bar moving average. Something I noticed yesterday, I thought I'd point it out to you. So I do like ALGN above this. And now we're going to go back to a commodity. Maybe I've got this drawn up on a better chart. I've got a really pretty version of this chart I want you to see. Oh boy, guess what just happened, kids? You're not going to like this even slightly. I'm going to have to restart this program. I got to put this on pause for just a moment. When I called that chart, it literally crashed my program. So let me pause this for just a moment, and I will be right back to you if that's possible. All right. Yeah, that chart crashed my program. Right in the middle of a class. How about that, huh? 93 people watching. Comes up pretty quickly though. Give me a moment, it'll come right back up. All right, it's almost back up and running. I will turn it back on in just a second and we'll continue on. I'm afraid to pull that same chart number, so I don't know what's going to happen. I'm afraid. I will do it, though. If it crashes again, it crashes again. I like it, Oz. I was typing that to you, by the way. All right, so where are we? All right, I just got to see a huge amount of markets. Let me go back to the chart we were playing with. 15. And let's light you guys back up. All right, so let's do this again. Hopefully, the system will not blow up this time. It did not. How beautiful is that? Okay, kids, this is copper. Interesting copper market. It's inside of a very smart handle of a cup and handle. Let me just blow this up a little bit more. And this is copper. So for copper, interesting market because you've got a well-established cup, which then grew or morphed into a fantastic handle. And you've got the golden cross right in the middle of the handle. I mean, you almost couldn't ask for a better long-term setup than this. So, not for short-term trading, but you're looking at 306 to 310, and then from there, we'll project further. But the cup and handle in copper projects out to about 306 easily, conservatively, 310 to stretch it a little bit. So we need to give this time now. It bouncing around, as I mentioned when I showed this to you a week or so ago, it bouncing around inside of here, that's okay. Let it do that. It's finishing or building its handle, right? Consolidating long enough so that when it finally goes, it should be able to project out and do what a cup and handle is supposed to do when it finally breaks out. So keep an eye on copper. And I kid you not, for many, many years, this has always been known as Dr. Copper. Dr. Copper because basically when the copper market is moving, industrialization is moving. Industrial production is grander than usual. More cars are being created, more structures are being built, more electricity is moving around, more copper is needed. Dr. Copper has been its name for many years. And when copper starts to show signs that it wants to go, it generally is pointing towards where the economy goes next. So I thought I'd bring that out. Now, someone just mentioned July corn, right? Let's see, thrift. You wanted to see July corn? I'll pull up July corn. I probably don't have it drawn up, but we'll take a look at it. Oof. July corn, or what? How about we just call that like mud? What are they? Let's name it Bitcoin. Bitcoin. Look at this thing. Horrible. Just horrible. And of course, you see the bear flags. You know, all these charts have fantastic lessons in them. Let me label the chart for you, and then we'll go look at some stuff. Being that you brought it up, this is corn. On a daily bar. So, Corn market, right? We need corn for ethanol, which is a joke. We need corn for all kinds of things, feed our cattle, feed our pigs, all kinds of stuff. And people like to eat corn too. So generally you find corn going in the other direction. But boy, oh boy, has it gotten beat up with all the other commodities lately. Now there is a reason for this. We'll get to that in a minute. But take a look at the corn and this channel. Now these channels really do work well. You do realize that, right? If you'll note how I drew that channel, let me redraw it for you. I'll show you just how well these things work. I simply just put a channel across the top of this. I don't know if it's going to be a parallel channel or not. I don't know what it's going to be. Then I took another line and said, are you a parallel channel? And lo and behold, basically it is. Look at that. What more could you ask for, right? It just drops, it seats in perfectly down here. So that, my friends, is a channel. No questions asked. Anyone who tells you it's not doesn't know how to draw channels. So perfect channel. Moving down, obviously you'll probably get to the low of this or close enough to it on this move. But what are the other lessons in this chart? You've got, right, bear flags, absolutely. Let's get rid of these extensions and turn these colors into different colors so you can see them. So you've got what would be considered a flag. And that would be here. Some kind of odd, it certainly was a bear flag building here. And let's get rid of extensions. And of course, that broke down. You can kind of make it an F flag if you want. I would make this an F flag, to be honest with you. That'd be an Oscarism known as an F flag, not a bear flag. F flags are bearish and bullish, depends on the formation direction. So that's working really well. Projection easily is going to be down to lower than this red line off that bear flag. Look at how many times, being that you brought up the July corn, it wasn't anything I was going to study with you today. Do trend lines work? Well, let's do a little counting, kids. Let's see. My goal when I do these classes is to prove to people how well technical analysis works, not to prove that I could make the right call every single day of my life, because no one can do that. But I can show you how well techniques work, and there's certainly a way to make a living doing this. So, look at all the times we failed at this line or attempted to get to the line and backed off, but just count the failures in here. All at this trend line. Every time you got here in corn, you could have sold this thing. Look at all of those opportunities. That's not sick. And then when it bounced off the bottom of the trend channel, look at the rallies. So let me ask a question of the people that are in all three of my rooms right now. I've got my premium room open. I've got my private room, which is my premium room. I've got my public room, and I've got the YouTube channel room. There are 3 rooms here full of people. Question for you. What should happen when we hit this line right here? Forget about what you think will happen. What's supposed to happen when you hit that line right there? A bounce. Wouldn't that be absolute? Correct, right? This is what this is the cornerstone of technical analysis. Spotting these repetitive patterns and knowing how to make use of them is the cornerstones of, it's the building blocks to technical analysis. If you can't do this right, you'll never figure out what's going on around you. Now, there's another really smart channel inside of this channel, and that would be this one. Look at this channel right here. It was way better than the big channel. Look at how many opportunities inside of this channel there were to trade. Insane the way this stuff works, right? Now, follow me on this. You finally start to break the channel. Boom. Comes back up, and it tests it, but it doesn't hold. Right? Back up, goes to a test, doesn't hold, and then slam. Now, we are day traders, don't forget. We're looking for signals that show us how to make money for trading for a day, and then we're on to the next trade. But you see how this suddenly became resistance? That bottom blue line was support. Then suddenly became resistance. And we came resistance again, and then blew through it for support. And now watch, we'll extend that line a little. Watch how well, when it breaks again, look at, that gives us the bar to our bear flag. So just to let you know, simple. This is very simple 101 analysis I'm doing today, by the way. But simple is what works in this business. This is very simple, but simplified analysis will show you what usually will come next. Now, we were certainly getting slightly complicated when we looked at this on the weekly. When we looked at the double top on the weekly, said we're going to sell it when three other markets are not at the double top yet, and you're in the middle of earnings week. That's going to be a tricky call, kids. You know what I'm saying? Not much I can do when that one doesn't work out. But you see the mentality behind knowing how to spot technical analysis, knowing how to spot trends, patterns, formations, and then knowing what to do with them. So almost every time I hold a class or do a course or teach people, my goal is to teach them how well analysis works and convince you people that this is the ticket to calling markets correctly. Once again, could I get that right as a day trader every day? Well, if I had a 5-letter name, started with a J and ended with an S and had usis in between, I'd be Jesus and I'd be able to do that, right? I can't call it right every day. It's not going to be possible for a human. However, you can call this right 4 out of 5 days out of the week, 15 out of 20 days out of the month, 8 out of 12 months out of the year using your technical analysis. Now, you've seen me make ridiculous calls that worked out really well long term on technical analysis. That's a difference from short term, obviously. So now there's got to be some charts that you guys want to go look at, right? I know we had a bunch of stock charts set up on this chart called 14. So we can go to just about anything that you want to look at on this chart and see what's going on. Does anyone have a suggestion for a stock or commodity that we can go look at? If you call it, I'll analyze it for you. BP. British Petroleum, I'm assuming. So let's go take a look at BP. BP. So, obviously, this is a very nasty chart to try to trade, day trade, because right off the bat, when you look at all these gaps, you know you can't day trade that. There are people getting destroyed trying to day trade stuff that has gaps like this. So this is more of a chart or a stock where people either buy and hold forever or sell and hold forever. But I don't like this even slightly. We don't want to print that. Let's just label it BP. I wouldn't trade this stock. It doesn't catch my attention when I look at it. What catches my attention is, boy, we'd lose a lot of money playing this thing as day traders. So I don't like it. It just looks like it doesn't have the volume it should on certain days. Looks sickly to me, to be honest. Nothing I would want to trade. Bucky Beaver, huh? SMH. What's SMH? Somebody just said no sound. That's in the YouTube room. That's not even possible. SMH. No, SMH won't come up. What else you have for me? I'm getting SMHI. Huh?
Wheat.
Say again?
Wheat.
Got to use that voice I'm telling you about, kid. Wheat. We'll do May wheat for now. Okay, maybe wheat won't. That was supposed to bring up May wheat. Ah, there we go. So I tell you the truth, I like the corn action. The action on the corn chart much better than this wheat chart. This looks sloppy like BP compared to the corn chart. Very sloppy here in the wheat, but you know, you have to understand what's going on here. If you go back to the date of the start of tariffs, you could start the decline in these markets. Just look at almost all the commodities, and when the tariffs began, the decline started. So what does that tell you? It tells me when this Chinese deal is done, come Commodities will fly. Did I even spell it right? I was looking down. Yes, I did. When this China deal is done, commodities will just explode. And simple reason for that. When they put tariffs in place, this began. When tariffs come out, what do you think happens next? The opposite will take place. Let's go look at soybeans. Just broke the 200 ball moving average. Looks absolutely terrible. So once again, looking at just spotting them with my eyes without even trying to put lines on there, you can see there's parallels all over this thing. That turns into another one which starts heading this way. Yeah, so we can get rid of this one for now. And you just broke the 200 ball moving average. This, to label it for you, is soybeans. Oh yeah, caps lock is always on. I must remember I've got this crazy caps lock on. It's not like me to have it on. So, soybeans chart daily. Once again, tariffs got put in place, and woof, look what happened to the market since. So, I do suspect that the way the markets reacted when tariffs got put in place, they'll react the same opposite way when the tariffs come off. But take away this 50 ball moving average. Look at this chart. Let's take away the 50 for a moment. Look at the reaction around this 200 ball moving average. My goodness. Look at this reaction around it. Clean and simple there. And then look at the reaction here. And then once you get above it, look at this. Look at how you just stay above that thing. This blue line and the 200 bar are on the same plane. Look at that, huh? And now, as I blow this up, we are below it. Right? You see the 200 bar? Smack down below it, dropped right to the bottom of that channel. Isn't that interesting the way that works? So, once again, of course, we would just trade these things. They're bearish. You trade them as bearish. But just be careful when we finally make our China deal. What went down when we put tariffs on China is likely going to head back up. What else is out there? Dollar index, which is making a lot of this happen.
Someone asked in the open room, should you do gold?
Excuse me?
Someone asked in the open room.
Would I do gold? Of course I'll do gold.
Yeah, we'll trade gold and trade.
This is the king. It is still King Dollar. It is not going to stop anytime soon. So, King Dollar is causing all those commodities to get hammered, including gold. You've got crude in the face of a strong dollar. That's not going to last forever. You know that, right? It's absolutely not. Let's put the 50 back in here. That says 49, but it should actually be 50. I must have hit it with my mouse. Let's put that back in. So, with the 50 ball moving average, right under the bull flag, as I pointed out when I drew this bull flag in a video 5, 6 days ago, 7 days ago, showed you that we had the bull flag, we were holding above the 50. This chart is dynamite when you wonder what you should do with currencies when the dollar gets down here. Why? Because look at how consistent this has been. And I have a YouTube fan, if he's watching me right now. See this? Hit right here, rally, hit, rally, hit, rally, hit, rally, didn't hit, rallied up, hit. Right at this hit, I had a guy on YouTube saying, Oscar, it's the end of the world. The dollar is coming to an end. Can't you see it's breaking? This is the worst thing I've ever seen. And I said to him, buddy, are you kidding me? Look at this fantastic channel. You're going to challenge this green channel? You're not going to wait for it to get under the channel? You're just going to call it dead? I would wait for it to challenge the channel. In fact, what I'm going to call is I'm going to call a buy right at this channel line. And this is what I told him on YouTube. And a few days later, this bull flag created, and it was absolutely what should have happened. How did I know that? No crystal ball. My crystal ball is this. If you're going to keep bouncing off this green line, I'm going to keep buying this green line until it stops working. That's just the way you handle technical analysis, how you put your analysis to work. This is one of the ways to do that. Now I've got information. What do I do with it? Well, you buy this green line every time you get to it, kids, or sell euro currency when dollar gets to this green line, and you'll find yourself doing all right. CMG, did that have earnings today? Let's go back to a stock for a moment. CMG, that earnings today, or it's coming out tomorrow, or something like that? Oh, I can't do that right now. CMG, so obviously no earnings today because I don't see a big ball, but look at this crazy stock. Look at how well, and this channel was a wonderful channel, which expanded over time, kept getting fatter and fatter, and it's broken out of that channel. Don't know what exactly that CEO did when they brought him on, but take a look at this. This is where the stock was. Higher than it's ever been in all of its history. This is CMG. Right? Chipotle. Higher than it's ever been in all of history. And then we had the stomach virus thing come out, right? With the Ebola virus, if I remember right. And we went down, went up a little, went down even further, and then they got a new CEO. And look at this thing since the new CEO. Is that not sick?
Earnings are tomorrow, Oscar.
Earnings are tomorrow, okay. I say if we ever get a chance to hire the CEO that they put in place, I want him working for me. What a good job this guy did. Round of applause to you, my friend. You took a company that was in a lot of trouble and turned it into something wonderful. In fact, a bunch of people ate at Chipotle the other day right before they came to my house. And no one got sick, could you imagine? So anyway, great job this guy has done. I think it's fantastic. KMB. Roger, I don't know what KMB is, but I'm going to look at it for you. What kind of news was that? Look at that Monday, Tuesday nonsense, huh? So what does KMG do? I don't know the stock. You want to tell me about it? That's for you, Roger.
Kimberly.
Kimberly Clark.
It's Kimberly Clark? I got you. I know what it is. That's Kimberly Clark, huh?
Diaper company.
Yeah, they supply a lot of kids' stuff. What on earth happened there? You know, fill the gap is all I could say here because I don't know the stock and I haven't followed it, but certainly you'd expect this gap to get filled, right? I mean, the gap was really here. It's getting filled now. This was actually the gap because it opened on the green bar, right? This day didn't exist. So let's get rid of it for a second. On KMG, you left this monstrous gap right here. That's too big. Can't see that. No box. If you could slow that noise down, this is a live recording. And you guys are really making a lot of noise over there. So look at that gap starting to get filled. See that? That red bar? Almost filled the gap already. Now, I don't really trade this stock a lot, so I don't want to advise you in it. I would have to play with it for a while and do some analysis. But it doesn't look terrible once you fill that gap. I mean, really, there's nothing wrong with this stock at all, except for whatever news this was, is now being accounted for. But when you look at the stock itself, it got over this major hurdle, right? It actually played around a little bit once it got over that hurdle, right? And look at this. Once it got over this double top area hurdle, and tell me double tops don't work so well. Look at that one. Boom, boom, crack. Right? Top, top. This is why we always take double tops. They're not always going to work, but that's a beauty. So anyway, coming back to this side of it, you got above this resistance, but you could see it had trouble, right? And it came back and jigger-jagged around for a while. And then look at the explosion. Boom. Explosion above that resistance. So analysis really does work well. It is the roadmap to figuring out future price action. Anyone else have another stock you'd like to look at? Boeing, huh? Well, we all know what that's going to look like. What is it, BE? What's Boeing? I haven't looked it up in a couple of days. I think it's BE. No, it's not Boeing. That's not Boeing. BT, huh? What's BT? Oh, you want me to look at Corf? Well, let's look at Boeing first. I mean, I actually have the Boeing chart all set up. Was it BA? That's not Bank of America, huh? It's BAC's Bank of America. So, Boeing. guess you have to call that a bear flag until it calls itself something else, right? What else would you call that? Until it turns into something not bear flag, I think that's all we could do is call that a massive bear flag. Luckily, it is above. It's above the 200 bar MA, but boy, oh boy, that's an ugly looking flag. Boeing. I certainly wouldn't be a buyer of Boeing right now. Now, I will tell you this, great plane company. This, from up here, when those planes started falling out of the sky, to down here, you must realize this is an event taking place in a much longer timeline of a company that almost always spends its time going up, except for during our normal crashes. But Boeing is a chart that spends more time going up than down. So whatever is going to happen when the damage got done, when it's finally out of our systems and everybody goes, okay, shook that out, don't know about Boeing, don't care about Boeing, it should end up much higher again, wouldn't you say? Let's talk slightly longer term. I wouldn't day trade it. I wouldn't touch Boeing right now. It's too volatile. But the news can only get good from here. It couldn't get worse, could it? The news, they've made a correction to the software, to the planes themselves, or we're getting rid of all those planes completely and we're going to have a new model. Whatever they say eventually should make Boeing head back up because of how great of a company it is. And then oddly enough, it also did something at the same time. It filled this gap right here. By coming back down and creating this big flag, you also finally have your gap filled. Boom, right? Filled it here on this day. So, but I wouldn't give you an opinion to buy or sell Boeing. If you were long term, I'd tell you to buy it. If you're short term, I'd tell you to stay away from it. IWM, huh, tomorrow? I know that stock. Wow, that looks pretty. So what this would represent, if it happens, this represents your golden cross right here. And why that's considered a golden cross, of course. And you know what? I'm going to make it gold. There we go. Why is that a golden cross? Because when the 50 bar moving average gets above the 200 bar, well, let's start with the 50. When the 50 gets above the 200, your 50 is here. And your 200 is right above it. Fund managers come out of the woodwork to see what's going on. And that is happening right there. Golden cross didn't happen yet, by the way. I don't want to confuse you. Not yet. But it's close. And this is in IWM, if I remember it, right? And that's on the daily. So when I look at this chart, I kind of like what I see here. I got to be honest with you. I think it looks decent for the V bottom it put in, like the rest of the stock market itself, right? You got this nice little V bottom. Comes out of the V bottom, consolidates over here. Let's leave that. Out of the V bottom, you get a consolidation right here. You got to like what you see there, at least I do. Do you think it's a false breakout? No, I like it. Not at all. I haven't ran an Omni on it. I'm giving you a Oscar's glance after 38 years of looking at charts. No, I like that chart. You know what I like about that? It reminds me of this one, same one we looked at a little bit earlier, ALGN. Look at this picture here, and look at this picture here, ALGN. We're not as close to the golden cross as we were on IWM, but your 50 is here, your 200's there, you're above the 200. And if you look, you got that V bottom looking thing, or whatever you want to call this one because of the big gap. So I like both of those stocks. I actually like single stocks right now. I think single stocks, I can't really find ones that look bad. Tesla's one of the few. I don't have all that many that look even slightly bad. So I plow through lots of stocks in the evening. So let's just go look at the usuals. Amazon. What could you say about that that's bearish? Zero, right? Nothing, nada, nothing. Let's go to Netflix. This, look at the size of that flag brewing. My goodness. That flag is going to produce quite the move. And of course, you had your golden cross, which we'll take now. We'll take this and just turn it into golden cross. You had your golden cross take place already.
Error occurred on your YouTube live.
Excuse me.
It's back up. We just had a glitch in your YouTube.
Is it still down or is the feedback up?
It's back up now.
Cool. So look, golden cross took place right there. 50, got above the 200. And the 50 is all the way up here. So I have to tell you, I kind of like single stocks. I don't really see any that I dislike. And there's no reason why you can't continue on in this flag or break out of it and just explode. So Netflix, let's see what else. Let's look at Facebook. Get a little fang crazy here. Yeah, I don't know. Looking good now, that's for sure. Looking much, much smarter than it did a couple of weeks ago. So this obviously was a bull flag, which should now project us up to about 190, 191, somewhere around there. Just glancing at it. So Facebook looks good. The FANG stocks are looking good. Kids, look at Apple. Technical analysis are the cornerstones to proper market forward thinking. Absolutely, unequivocally. Once again, look how smart this channel works. Look at this green channel and look at the times with the arrows and the circles that this thing works. And then up here, let's just move this circle to here. Right? Unbelievable, isn't it? And here we are now above the 200 in a smaller, cleaner channel. You know, you could include this one bar, but you don't need to. So the FANG stocks just look fantastic, don't you think? Anybody have another stock or commodity that you'd like to look at?
Someone said coffee.
Somebody said coffee. Of course we like coffee. Let's go drink some. That's going to be KC. We'll use May for now. We'll roll over to July afterwards. And there's no S there. It's E. Ugh. Once again, it's a commodity, right? We didn't do gold yet. We'll get there in a minute. But how horrible looking is that? Coffee. Good thing Brazil sells more than just coffee these days, huh? Because they wouldn't be making a lot of money on this crop. So let's look at that on a weekly, because on a daily it just looks terrible. Oh, on a weekly it looks terrible. Is there like a worldwide boycott of coffee going on here, kids? That's a horrible looking chart. Cotton. Yeah, I'll tell you what, that King Dollar is just beating up these commodities like crazy. Let's go to gold. There's nothing to see in cotton. It's boring. There's several ways to look at this gold chart. Let's go look at, I think I've got one saved over here somewhere. Oh yeah, there we go. Let's go play with this one. No, this is getting old. It's got too many old techniques. We'll go to a fresh one. I say we just drop a brand new fresh one and start over. weekly first. Let's go to the daily. Gold on the daily. So if you can visualize, we had the big cup, the handle, just a little bit below the handle now, whatever that means, we'll find out. Holding the 200 ball moving average, failing at the 50 miserably. You know, holding pattern for now. I didn't touch gold today. I don't know that I'll be playing it for the next few days. Although, I do like the fact that we just kissed this 200 ball moving average. It's very interesting, don't you think? So we might end up taking a better look at gold. I got to see what Omni tells me. But what really was happening in gold as of last night, which you can clearly see, and I did spot this, but it was my first day back, and I didn't feel like getting involved in gold this week, maybe later in the week. But this is what existed as of last night. It's very clear. Look at this. This was sitting there as pretty as a rose when I did my analysis last night. And that is about as much of a bear flag as you're going to get. However, they don't all work in gold. Gold's a very fickle market. Look at this one. Gold is a very fickle market. You really have to have, I have to have a red omni and a bear flag in order to play gold. I had a green omni and a bear flag, so I didn't bother to take the bear flag. Although flags would take precedent over the omni, but you see that one didn't go down, did it? So you got to be a little careful in gold. Let me label this for us. Gold can be very fickle, this market. Because a lot of times on a day with a bear flag, the dollar might drop, and instead, like I'll bet you on this day, the dollar dropped. I'll bet you we could actually go back and see that the dollar dropped on 3.8, which is probably what made that flag not work. So this one is actually working as of today. You see that? Well, let's just go back. Now I'm interested to see dollar index on 3.819. 3.819. Let's blow it up a little bit. So, dollar headed down, gold headed up. The bear flag didn't work. This is the day that was in question. So you see how you have to watch everything at once, because not looking at the dollar would have made you blindly go into a bear flag, not recognizing that that day you might have trouble in that bear flag because dollar was coming down. Just things to look at. I'm not saying that that's how we would have handled that trade by any means. We never, ever do backseat driving. All I ever do is promote what's going forward in the future. What happened in the past is wonderful to see, but the only analysis I ever put forth for you cats is where we will go next. So, but you have to use past patterns and past price action in order to figure out what's coming next, at least in my opinion. So is there anything else we want to look at? Because I've taken this over an hour. Oh, snap. I got you on that, Dan. We'll look at snap. In fact, I may have snap drawn up on another chart. Let's go over here. I might already have this done. I guess not. Not bad on snap, huh? Great looking chart. I hate all the gaps, but great looking chart. So you could actually, you know, if I wanted to push this, I could push this into a cup down here. And then you could call this some kind of an off color handle. If you felt like calling this a cup and handle. Me, I say, forget all that stuff. And I would simply call this a beautiful channel. That's what I'd call this. That's a pretty looking channel in my opinion. That's snap. Now look at how well you bounced here. And if you look at all the times. In fact, let me use it different. Let me just use a line. Look at all the times it bounced right here. Right, and then it continues on. It bounces off the top, hits the bottom, bounces again, on its way back up. Technical analysis at its best, kids. And is there anything else out there that we should look at that we need to worry about? Bonds have done nothing. That's why I didn't bring them into this class. We'll take a 30-second look, but they've done absolutely nothing lately. Just kind of hanging around lately. Now, obviously, we'd have to construe this as an Oscarism F flag to the downside, and you are getting below the 50-ball moving average, but that would mean rates are going up, not down. So I don't want to call this anything yet, because we're not raising rates anytime soon. I know the Fed isn't planning on doing that. So I'm not going to call that anything yet. When you go out to a weekly on the bonds, you've got this inverted head and shoulders. Very interesting. So this should be a bullish pattern. Should take you higher, maybe back up to the 200-ball moving average, maybe higher than that. And that should lower interest rates, which in turn will boost the stock market, because that's what low interest rates does. So right now you've got a formation, this one, called the inverted head and shoulders. This is long-term bullish, especially on a weekly chart. Should propel us higher as time passes, driving rates lower. Now, if you don't think these techniques work, look at this bear flag, and you can see I didn't draw it for you guys. It's been sitting on my chart forever. Look at this bear flag right here. Big blue bear flag, and then it breaks down out of it. Boom. It goes up a little, breaks down even further. Nice projection off that flag. So analysis works really well, kids. Any question on whether or not technical analysis works? Thank you, Tamar. I appreciate that. What I need is promotion. That's what this is all about. It's got to be more than what's happening now. You guys got to help me. XLV? Sure, you like that silver stuff. XLV on a daily. Yuck! Stay away from stuff like that, please. Do you look at the XLF as well? Might as well now that you're getting us into the X's. Should be strong as bull. Yeah, there you go. XLF looks very nice. Makes the Russell look sickly. In fact, that looks extremely nice. I mean, you have to worry, of course, about will this be construed as some sort of resistance area? Why? Because the same theme as that double top stuff we started this class with. Possibility that the world sees this as some kind of a double top does exist. That's an XLF. And what are you looking at? Apple? I think we did Apple, but I'll do it again for you, buddy. Apple. Different chart. It doesn't really matter to me. I'll just do it here. So Apple just looks fantastic. I mean, really, really looks smart. I don't see why Apple doesn't easily best 240, 250 on its way to wherever it's going to be when it finally reaches its peak one day. But there's no reason why this bad boy shouldn't just continue on up. The AEX, huh? Oh boy. All right, I'll do it for you. You trading this Australian stock now? I don't know what to call that. Too many dots. It's not coming up correctly. What else you want me to look at? I never heard of MTCH, kids. I'll look at that. Just 'cause I never heard of it. MTCH. Never heard of this one. What is it? Ooh, a very interesting one, whatever it is. What's MTCH? You put it in. That's to you. Who put that in? Adam. What's MTCH, Adam? I could look it up in 30 seconds, but maybe you could give it to me. I know the AEX. Adam, you still listening? Alrighty then. I'll look at this chart anyway because it's interesting. And this is Mitch. I don't know. Tell me what Mitch is, kids.
MTC,
Yeah, never heard of it.
match,
What is it?
match group,
What's Match Group do?
it has something to do with Tinder, I think.
Match.com. Oh, it's a dating website. Of course. Of course. Match Group.
In Asia.
Scary. Match groups, huh? Might be more than just a dating website. All right, so look at that. A lot of people like to meet other people on this planet, huh? Look at this stock. In fact, it moves so strong it's probably the cheaters website. That's the one that really goes crazy. How can I find me a 500-pound pregnant wife? That's what I'm going to look for on Tinder. Is that what they do? Is that how this stuff works? So, because it's getting uglier by the second, I think we'll just switch to another stock. What do you guys think?
Someone asked for that SMH again, Oscar, that's Van Eck.
We did SMH, didn't we?
You couldn't find it, you didn't know what it was.
Oh, it wouldn't come up, right?
Yeah, SMH. It's
Yeah, it
Van
comes up
Eck.
as SMHI for me. It doesn't show up.
Internet Vector Semiconductor. It's an ETF.
So back to this Tesla ugly guy for a minute. Just remember, when you see a stock that looks like this, run! I think Tesla's all drawn up on 15. Let's go to 15. 15, where are you? Well, it was. It's all gone now. My information is Gandhi. Oh, I know where to find it. Watch this. I can be slick. I put it here. So, yeah, really ugly in this Tesla chart, kids. I'm assuming this double bottom gets taken out like without much trouble at all. Market gravity tends to do things like that. So I saw this earlier. I didn't get a chance to say it to you, so I wanted to bring this back because there's a pretty ugly looking double bottom sitting right there. So what happens at double bottoms, a lot of people expect them to hold, but you must understand what builds up underneath double bottoms. These do. Do you know what an X stands for? Stop. Stops build up like crazy. So, and because this is difficult, let me do it a different way. These are what build up underneath a double bottom. You have the one bottom, the stops start pouring in. When you get to the second one, generally the stops get taken out. So, double bottoms generally, market gravity takes out a double bottom. I don't buy double bottoms. It's not something that I consider part of my technique approach. So, you may be a double bottom buyer, but I prefer to see that market gravity takes the stops out below a double bottom before I get involved. That, I think, is your fate of Tesla right now. So we'll see if it goes there, but it certainly looks like that's where it wants to go. And Father Lucifer wants dust. A name like Father Lucifer, and you want to look at gold. What else you got going on? Are you drunk right now? Or you happen to be gambling with a cigarette in your mouth at the moment? Oh, well, all right, so. They say where there's smoke, there's fire. You got some smoke coming out of that chart right now. I was kidding, Father Lucifer. It's an interesting name, though. You don't expect any feedback with a name like that? You mean I'm the first person to mention that to you? You know that's not true. So, you know, it's a $20 stock. All right, so how would I define what I would do in a stock like Dust? Dust is a $22 stock in a stock market that most stocks are worth hundreds, if not thousands of dollars that have been around for a while, and Dust has been around for a while. How far back? You go on forever. So why is it a $22 stock? Why would you even go near it? I know it's not a stock. Why would you even go near dust? Just stay away from it. It's silly looking. So look back. See the price of 19, 20, 22? Look when I go back. You see what these prices are? 2,500. You see that, right? $2,500 stock that used to be. So I think I'm just going to stay away from that one. Yes, I know it's a gold stock. I'm just going to stay away from that mess. Anything else, kids? I like looking at stocks I've never seen before. I like looking at stuff I don't have set up because it makes me see things right away. So, for instance, what do you see right away on this chart? Does anybody see something like just jumps right out at you, easy to spot? Yeah, we will look at Roku. I think it's a cool chart. Like, take a look at this. This is the first thing I noticed when I pulled up this chart. I didn't see anything but this, and then I started to see other stuff. But look at that. I mean, could you ask for a better bear flag than that? I mean, isn't that just perfect? So I just look for stuff like this all day long. I spend my life looking for things like this. Yeah, I know what. I know what dust is. It's been around for quite some time. I've been watching people get destroyed in that crazy market. British Telecom, please. BT. Well, we got Roku first. Hold on a minute. Oh, okay, here it is. Nice look to that stock once again. It's volatile, but nice look to it. It tends to not. It doesn't tend to fill its gaps quickly. Now that you have a gap here, you could probably gap higher in Roku. Dano, see that little gap higher? If you notice, it doesn't go and fill its gaps right away. It leaves a gap for a long time here, left a gap for a long time here, left a gap for a long time here. It leaves its gaps for quite some time. British Telecom. 4 letters for that sucker. Yuck. Stay away. It's nasty. I wouldn't go near that. I wouldn't touch this with a 10-foot pole. UNH, Dan, huh? What's that, Dan? That's a new one for me. Is that United Health by some chance? Yeah, okay, I thought so. Well, I read about the rebound in this weekend's papers and all the healthcare stocks that's supposed to come. But that doesn't look very good to me. I'd sell rallies in that stock. Sell the rallies. And I'll show you why. It sort of shapes itself into a form right here. Well, you could really do it if you go like that and just get rid of that one high. But what you have is this. It's shaping itself into something you'd want to sell into, not buy. You want to sell into this mess up here if it gets there. So if I were you, if you're in that stock and it rallies up, get out. If you want to get short, sell it anywhere from this blue line to that blue line and hang out with it. If you were not day trading. Well, the banks are all reporting this week, so looking at them isn't going to do us any good. They're all going straight up. Well, just about all of them. I think one maybe might not make it. Everything else is just going to go straight up. BAC. Oh boy, look at that nice flag getting ready to blow out. Who else do you want to look at? BAC City. Damn, City. Citibank. Gotta like the banking sector, kids. I think they look great. All right, so back to this crazy E-mini S&P chart. Remember, if you look, we're not quite at the double top yet. It should get there today. Because of the Nasdaq blowing through the double top, we're just going to consider that everything else is going to, and we're just going to buy right through it. Follow Nasdaq's lead. So that's what I've got planned for tonight. Unless somehow the Omni flips on me, we're going to follow Nasdaq's lead and just let this thing blow out and see where it's going to go. Make sure that you join me at livewithoscar.com. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can come to livewithoscar.com and come to our chat room. It's an open public chat room where you can see me on camera and microphone, gather around with other Omniacs, watch the charts, watch the markets, and of course then we can help you, give you a 2-week membership to our premium room where I could give you direct trading recommendations. I also, in the open room, from time to time throughout the weeks, will give out free room trades, give you a little taste of what's going to go on in the Platinum Room. So just an invite to you cats that are new from YouTube and don't know where to find me. Everyone else, thank you very much for showing up to my YouTube classes. I love you guys. I can't say the support I get from you people, I can't say enough about. Your letters are fantastic. You write me really nice comments. Very few bashers out there. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Really appreciate you, Omniacs. And we'll do another class on Thursday to see where the markets have gone. Stay tuned, livewithoscar.com, and I will see you there.